My name is Dustin Black. And as a part of Clemson Sports Media, we're going to be doing a film breakdown series of Clemson's opponents during the 2023 season. Today, we're breaking down the Florida State defense. All right, so this is Florida State against LSU in their first game of the year. This is actually the first play of the year. So what LSU did in this game, they really did a good job of attacking the perimeters of Florida State's defense. And what that did for LSU and their offense is it really opened up the ability to use Jaden Daniels' legs. Now, this is just a really simple play. I mean, this isn't really anything extravagant, but definitely something that LSU saw in film from Florida State's defense last year that they felt like they could take advantage of. I think that if you're looking for a vulnerability in Florida State's defense, it's definitely the linebackers and coverage. I don't think that they're particularly good at it at all. I think that Tatum Bethune, number 15, and DJ Lundy are bigger guys. They're built for stopping the run. And this number 4, Kalen DeLoach, he's more of like a weak side linebacker, more of a will linebacker, and he's used in space a lot. But they're also just ultra aggressive, so you can catch them a lot. Really keying on the run and kind of selling out to stop the run and try and get contained on the edge. And then you can catch them missing responsibilities in the middle of the field. But also, what it does if you attack the perimeter of this defense is it kind of gets Florida State out of this two safety high look. They want to stay with two safeties on the field, but they have one position that's called the buck position, and he's essentially just a box safety. So he'll creep down the field post snap sometimes, and be there for run responsibility. And then they'll play cover one or they'll play cover zero at times. But I thought LSU did a really good job in this game, attacking the perimeter of their defense first of all, and then just really utilizing those mismatches in the middle of the field with the tight end, the running back, and those linebackers. If you saw there, right where I got it highlighted, that linebacker really has no idea where he's going. He's got that tight end leaking out of the backfield. Um, you got this running back coming through the formation. He has no idea he's there, and then you got everyone else in man coverage. And this play goes for 40, 50 yards. So it's a good first play of the game. I thought it was a good indicator that LSU had a good game plan and they really did a good job in this game. I felt like and part of that is just LSU has really good wide receivers, right? I think it's one of the better wide receiver corps in the country. Malik Neighbors and Kyron Lacey and guys like that. They had a really good game and that's the advantage of having really skilled guys on the outside. And I think that that's one thing that Garrett Riley's going to try and do early is he's going to try and establish some sort of physicality in the perimeter of Florida State's defense. So you're going to see a lot of screens early. You're going to want to see Cade get eased into the game a little bit. You're going to want to see the ball come out of his hands quick. So I expect Garrett Riley to call a lot of screens early. I expect to see early on if these Clemson wide receivers are going to be able to block Florida State's DBs, and that's going to be the game right there. And if Clemson can consistently get 4 or 5 yards on a lot of these screenplays that they call early, I think that it's just going to open up a lot of stuff, particularly in the middle of the field. And I think that that's one big storyline coming into this game is how much are they going to use Cade's legs and I think if you're able to attack the perimeter and you're able to win man on man matchups on the outside, I think that just makes Cade's job a lot easier. And I think that you can really use Stool and Shipley in the passing game and really take advantage of these linebackers who aren't particularly good in coverage. All right, so this is a little bit later on in the LSU game. This was a good clip to show that Florida State really likes to change their coverages post snap. So they're going to change what you're looking at. Once you get the ball hiked and once you pick your eyes up downfield. But they'll tell on themselves before the snap. So if you watch this guy play a lot, the guy standing on the Camping World's logo, that's Akeem Dent. He's their free safety. The other guy is that buck safety I referenced earlier. He's essentially just a box safety. He plays run responsibilities a lot. He has coverage responsibility. He's kind of do it all guy. But if you watch this clip, and he does this a lot, is he'll kind of tell on himself before the snap. So just look how he's lined up compared to the other safety. You can kind of tell that guy's anticipating coming downhill. And even before this ball snapped, he's even leaning forward just a little bit more. And so that's something that Cade's going to have to read and Cade's going to have to, notice because this is going to look completely different once Cade snaps the ball. And if there's one thing that is going to help him get the ball out of his hands quicker, it's going to be the anticipation of what it's going to look like post snap. So little reads like that I think go a long way, especially with playing quarterback. and especially allows you to, find matchups that you like, knowing what matchups are going to be there after you, or sorry, before you snap the ball. That way, when you have the ball in your hands, you can play a little bit faster. So it's going to be little things like that that I'm looking for with Cade. I think that up to this point, a lot of the stuff that we've seen with him is just mental errors and just everything kind of points back to the fact that the game's just moving a little bit too fast for him. And this is one way to really slow the game down is through your film study and through viewing tendencies like this is just key on little differences and little nuances like that, so that whenever you can see that safety lining up, he's coming downhill. The free safety is going to go to the middle of the field in kind of a cover one look, and then you pick the matchup that you like on the outside. Now, one development that's coming out of this week is that Cole Turner's out for the season. What I anticipate is that you still use Brenningstool as a split, wide receiver, kind of attached tight end. But you move Antonio Williams kind of to an outside position, kind of where Cole Turner was playing, more of a Z receiver. And that allows Tyler Brown to play inside the slot. Now, if you get Tyler Brown and Antonio Williams on the same side of the field over here, I think that's a deadly duo. I mean, I think both those guys have proven that they can create separation. And this is one route that Cade's proven, through 3 weeks to me that he can throw well. I think that you saw it a lot in Duke. You definitely saw it against inferior competition that if he's able to anticipate this out route, he's able to throw guys open and really make it, a good opportunity for these receivers to turn up field and get some yards after the catch. So that's really a big, game within the game that I'm looking for on Saturday is how does Cade read defenses and can Cade pick up on those little nuances, to allow himself to play quicker after he's got the ball in his hands. All right, so this is a clip from the Boston College game against Florida State. This was a really, kind of crazy game for the most part. I think that Boston College kind of punched Florida State in the mouth a little bit to begin the game, and then Florida State really settled in and really pulled away. But then they just took their foot off the gas and kind of like lost a little bit of their detail and stuff of that nature. And Boston College crept back in this game and honestly had a chance to win it. But, with the amount of penalties that Boston College had, it kind of makes it, really difficult to win a football game. But this is another good example of, the linebackers and every, even the safeties just not being on the same page. So if you see that, that's DJ Lundy who's highlighted there. He's a linebacker. And then the guy who catches this ball is just, in the middle of the field. I mean, there's no one within 10 yards of him. You can draw like almost a 10-yard, circle around him, and there's no one within the 10-yard radius. So this is just something that I've seen on film a lot of blown coverages, particularly in the middle of the field that just aren't getting keyed on by either the safety, either this is maybe just a product of the linebackers just selling out to stop the run and forgetting about their coverage responsibilities, whatever it is. But this was pretty bad. This was the first drive of the game for Boston College. They drove the field and really scored a nice touchdown here with a guy who's not even touched until he crossed the goal line. But another thing here I really like that Boston College did this is if you don't think that your guys can pass protect a lot of ways to avoid that is just move the pocket for your quarterback. You don't particularly have to leave them out in space like they're doing here. But I think that's a good thing for Garrett Riley to key on, particularly. Get Jared Verse out here in space. Get them to sell out for the run, and then just have one of these little stop routes in the middle of the field where Brenningstool or anybody can just stop in this zone, this soft zone, and really be wide open and then turn up field and get some extra yardage. I thought this was a really good play by Boston College. I think it really plays into the weakness of Florida State's defense, and I thought this was just a really good execution here. So definitely something I'm looking for with Garrett Riley moving forward. I think that for me through 3 weeks, pass protection's got to be one of our biggest concerns as a whole. So if you don't feel like you can pass protect on these guys, I mean, move the pocket, get Cade out in space, put him in motion, and a lot of what you're doing there is one, you're making Cade comfortable and basically letting Cade use his legs a little bit. He likes to be out in space. But you're also, using misdirection on these linebackers and these safeties for their coverage responsibilities like this here. I think that it really kind of throws these guys for a loop, and I think that it's something that's really effective against these guys. And Something I'm definitely looking for on Saturday. I want to take advantage of this as much as possible, and I think that we've done a good job of attacking the middle of the field so far through 3 weeks. I think that's something that we really lacked last year, and we're starting to see more of it. And it's definitely going to be open on Saturday, and definitely something through 3 weeks that Florida State has not done a good job of defending. As I go through the film of Florida State's defense, I think their defense is a little bit better than the numbers would suggest. I think they're really stout up front. I think they have two terrific edge rushers, and I do think they have some athletes on the back end. I do think that there's some vulnerabilities that Clemson can attack, and I want to see the wide receivers of Clemson continue to build momentum throughout the season. We've seen against inferior opponents, Bo have a big day. We've seen Tyler Brown create separation. I kind of know what we're going to get from Antonio, from this week. Hopefully, he's not too banged up from last week. But the big development for me was Cole Turner getting injured this week, and how Garrett Riley decides to use those guys now will definitely be a dynamic to look out for. But I do expect Garrett Riley to want to remain balanced in this game, but maybe lean on the run a little bit more than he usually would. With Shipley and Maffa as a 1-2 punch, I think you try and wear down this defensive front of Florida State as much as possible. I think it's just those little deposits you put in the bank throughout the game, and if you can wear them out through 4 quarters, and then you just hope you have an opportunity to win it at the end of the game. I think this is going to be a close contest. I think Clemson's going to be able to move the ball on Florida State. Just got to execute in the red zone and got to cut out the costly turnovers. And those are two things you can't really predict. And it's something that they've had a chance to work on in practice, chance to work on against inferior opponents. So let's just continue to build momentum throughout the season, so we can see improvement in this Clemson offense. But I also think that Garrett Riley has no reason to hold anything back this week. I think that we're going to see the full Garrett Riley offense. I think that we're going to see some things that we haven't seen yet, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun on Saturday. I'll be doing an offense breakdown of Florida State later on this week. So we'll look at some challenges that they present the Clemson defense, and I'll give you my prediction then. But if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, follow us on all the socials, and we'll see you guys next time.